So I'm 7 months into my natural hair transition of growing out my Japanese hair straightener and letting my natural curls grow in. And I have been thinking a lot about what that means in terms of fitting into society's standards of beauty. And that's just got me thinking about so many different things. So I came across a quote that really resonated with me. It moved me, and I wanted to share that with you. And it's about whether or not we owe, as women, do we owe beauty to society? So I called this video "Is Beauty a Woman's Duty?" because when I read this quote, it really drove home for me the fact that I think women, girls, little girls, and then of course as women, we are taught that it is our duty to not only be beautiful, but to, and what that beauty means. Like, it's not just to let our own beauty shine, but to meet certain standards, certain ideals. They're always going to be, in my experience, these Eurocentric standards of beauty. And that's somehow our duty, and that if we don't do that, then we are somehow doing something wrong, or we are not being a real woman, I guess. So before I read the quote to you, I just want to say that I think beauty is something that everybody appreciates, and it's our nature to enjoy beauty in the world. So a beautiful sunset, watching a bird fly, a painting, beautiful fabrics, colors, that we see out in the world, like, if I didn't already say, flowers, there's so many examples of beauty. Or watching a beautiful dance, watching people dance. Beauty can be appreciated in many, many, many different ways, and in fact, I think it's something that nourishes our souls to appreciate beauty. So this is not in any way to say that beauty isn't important, because I think it is. I think we really enjoy taking in beauty. The problem, I think, comes when there starts to become this very narrow definition of what beauty is, and then there's this idea perpetuated that only a certain type of person can how do I say, like, not everybody can actually be beautiful. When we start to say it's limited in certain ways, and that only certain people can have the I can't think of the word I'm trying to say right now, but like that word's not coming to my mind, but somehow that they're the only ones that can be called beautiful. So I think that's when the problem starts, and then we start to make these limitations on what's beautiful. So we're not actually looking at everybody and finding beauty in everybody, because the truth is that everybody has beauty inside of them to shine, to show, and it's only when we start saying what that has to look like that we miss out on everybody's beauty, because we're only looking for certain qualities. And obviously this is, I made this channel to document my hair journey to natural hair, so I'm focused a lot on hair, but of course there are many, many different standards and these ideals and limitations that are placed on everybody, and especially women. So that said, I of course think beauty is something to be appreciated, but let's see if we can find beauty in everything, and not have such limited ideas of what that is. So I wanted to read the quote to you, and then I want to talk a little bit about it. So the quote is, "You don't have to be pretty. You don't owe prettiness to anyone, not your boyfriend, spouse, or partner, not your coworkers, especially not to random men on the street. You don't owe it to your mother. You don't owe it to your children. You don't owe it to civilization in general. Prettiness is not a rent you pay for occupying a space marked female." And that quote is by Erin McKeon. And I just found such freedom in that, because when I read that, something inside of me just felt relieved, because I realized that I have been, I think for as long as I can remember, I've been buying into this message that somehow as a female, even as a little girl, that it is my duty to know what the standards are of beauty and to do everything I can to meet those, and that if I don't do that, that I'm somehow like being, I don't know, I'm offending people, I'm not doing my job as a female, and that is it's a terrible way to be. It's just it's a terrible way to be, to somehow believe, to tell ourselves the story. And I know I'm not the only woman that feels this way, or female that feels this way. I think little girls feel this way too, that our right to exist is very much connected to how much we try to become attractive to other people in this world, and that somehow we owe it to them to do everything we can to not be ugly, whatever that even means. And that we're supposed to change the things about ourselves that don't meet those standards of beauty, that are arbitrary anyway. I made another video about that. I can maybe link that below. But yes, so I made just a couple of notes I wanted to share. So I wrote, is conventional outer beauty a woman's obligation? And I do think that that's the message that we receive even as little girls, that it's somehow our obligation to meet these standards of conventional beauty, instead of just really knowing what our own individual unique beauty is and letting that shine. And so the message is, if you don't do everything that you can to meet these expectations of what you should look like as a female, then somehow you're not meeting your obligation as a woman. And there's even this implication that we don't have the same right to exist as a woman than compared to a woman that does meet those standards. And that what makes a woman a real woman and a feminine woman is meeting those standards. And I just think that's so harmful to perpetuate those messages to little girls, because instead of a little girl focusing on who she really is, what her interests are, becoming a person that cares about other people, cares about herself, cares about the world, she becomes so focused on becoming okay to other people and becoming okay by looking a certain way, and that somehow that gives her the right, that's how she earns. It's like the cost of admission, or the price of admission into life, is to have to look a certain way. So I guess I just wanted to say that I like this idea of freeing myself from the prison of, as a woman, I have to, I owe it to society, that somehow if I leave the house and I don't look a certain way that people expect me to look as a woman, that somehow I'm falling short as a woman, or I'm not meeting an obligation or a duty. That's a very liberating perspective to let that one go and just say, no, I don't owe it to anybody to look a certain way. I'm not offending anybody if I don't look a certain way, and that however nature made me is the way that I am, and it's the way that I can always be, that I don't have to change that. So I just wanted to share that. I hope it inspires other people to feel that sense of liberation, that it's perfectly fine to just be as you are, the way you were made, and that you don't owe beauty or prettiness to anybody. You can enjoy beauty and enjoy, if you enjoy doing makeup or clothes that you find to be beautiful, or doing stuff to your hair that gives you pleasure for yourself, that is wonderful, and that's one of the joys of life, but it's not, we don't owe it to anybody else. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you so much for stopping by. See you next time.